Alright, so I had to do a few more, unfortunately, but I finally got it. Fear Bloodmouth has sent me to destroy the Dawnguard leaders at Dayspring Canyon. Yeah, it's funny that Fura is the one who actually gives us this quest. Got a couple of other ones. We got one to go turn Kareen, I think her name is, in Markarth into a vampire so she can be our eyes and ears in the city. Which, to me, makes sense. So here we go, guys. And just like that, it puts us right here. Well, before we storm the fort, before we storm the castle, we gotta make sure the whole place is cleaned out. Can't have any leftovers to help them out, can we? Holy mackerel.
Who's there?
And just like that, Isran and the Dawnguard leadership, well, not entirely, but we just took out their main leader. And now to take out the rest. Hello?
Is that your best? Huh?
That's an amusing death pose for her. Just kind of squats and she's just sitting there lifeless. Huh, I forgot she was apparently a wood elf.
Show yourself! Die!
Sorry, boys. Okay. Hello.
Time. Leave me be. Show yourself. No. It's what you know.
Oh! I'm pretty sure that's the farm boy, and because we're dual wielding, we just did that Anakin Skywalker execution move that he did to Dooku, where we just use them both to just slice his head off. And just like that, the Dawnguard are over. So, I'm obviously making it look super easy. It's not. I have OP mods making it where I can one-shot them, but like, really think about how tough that would actually be, especially when they all attack you at once. And they have a number of things that can of course, make it harder for you as a vampire, and yeah, it can not be a super easy encounter.
I wish Orthiolf and Vingama would just get it over with and kill each other. Good. That should slow them down. But we haven't gotten rid of them completely. A body can rattle around confused long after its head's been severed.
Interesting way to put that.
Speak with Ferran Sadri. He has something for you. Feed well.
So yeah, even though we have taken out the leadership of the Dawnguard, the quests still continue because there's still things you can do here in Skyrim for the vampires.
Yes, life here has many. The Dawnguard have increased their operations and have been aggressively recruiting.
It's the same quest. You see what I mean about the whole, hey, it's Radiant quests. Yeah, that... I just had this quest, and now it wants me to do the same thing. And again, it's in Raven Rock. You know? It's like, come on. So, yeah, not a great note to end on right there with yet another reminder, oh yeah, Radiant quests in Skyrim. But that's basically it when it comes to the vampire side of things for the Dawnguard DLC. I just wanted to go ahead and show that off. That I actually think, especially with some of these mods that allow you to basically... I mean, depending on which mods you find, of course. But the idea of inheriting the castle and as your own and becoming the new lord of the castle with all these vampires following you and doing as you command. To me, that's more rewarding than siding with the Dawnguard and just, alright, well, we took out Harkin and yeah, that's that. So... I just find it more interesting and compelling. Not to say that it's necessarily better, because, you know, siding with the Dawnguard, you get, you know, some of the characters you meet in the Dawnguard and such, and, you know, but I just find the vampire side of things a tad bit more interesting and a tad bit more rewarding. Not necessarily better, just, it kind of fits my preferences. Plus, if you also have some cool vampire mods, it allows you to keep playing around as a vampire as well. And if you also have the hybrid mod, you can be able to go ahead and do this along with the companion's questline, so you don't have to worry about conflicting between being a vampire or a werewolf. You can just be both. You know, so that's it for the vampire side of the Dawnguard DLC. And the next time you see Elder Scrolls content on this channel, it won't be Skyrim, because I can't really think of anything else in Skyrim I could actually show you guys that's different than what I've already shown you in my main playthrough. Dawnguard is like one of the only ones, the only possible thing I can think of that I could actually show you guys would be the Stormcloak side of the war, of the Civil War. But honestly, having just retried it again on a different Nord character that I was messing around with, because I was testing out some other specific Stormcloak mods, like one that's supposed to make them a little less bad to join in terms of it. I know I don't want to get into a thing here because I know there's some people that get defensive about the whole lore thing when it comes to the Stormcloaks and, you know, the racism involved there. And Ulfric as well. Let's just say that there is a mod that somebody made that calls them Stormcloaks for Good Guys, Less Racist, with the idea of you being a changing force for the Stormcloaks and Ulfric to make them more understanding of the idea that this can't just be about the Nords. This has to be for all the people of Skyrim, which is not just Nords. It's also a lot of the Dark Elves that live in Windhelm, and a number of the other people that live there that are of various different races. And you can actually talk to Ulfric and Galmar and can try to convince them to actually be more receptive to them and be more accommodating to them, to the point where you can actually convince them to pass laws to help them out. And you can also pull your influence and leverage, and this is something I wanted in the main game, as the Dragonborn. You can be able to tell him, look, if you want the Dragonborn, me, to help you in this war, I'm not going to do so unless you are more accepting of these people. Just because they're not Nords. I need you to be more nicer and accommodating to Dark Elves and less racist and be less of a jerk to them than you have been. Otherwise, I'm not supporting you. And this will make him be like, okay, I get it. You've made your point. And it will get him to go ahead and pass new laws to allow, that are much nicer to the Dark Elf people. And you can actually go ahead and convince other Dark Elves to join to show the more diverse and collected Stormcloaks, not just Nords, but other races as well, showing that this is they're not just fighting for Nords, they're fighting for the people of Skyrim as well. Whether or not that's what should happen or not, that's not what I'm talking about. It's just a mod that makes joining the Stormcloaks seem not as bad as it probably does in the base vanilla game. But honestly, thinking back on it, I'm just like, there's really not much to show differently in that regard compared to this, where in that one, you've got the different, you get the Jagged Crown for Ulfric, you take different forts, when it comes to taking over certain regions on behalf of the Stormcloaks, and then of course certain other people will become the new rulers of those zones instead of the ones that are currently there, and conversely, if the Empire wins the Civil War, and yada yada yada, you get the idea. So, like I said, there's really not much reason to actually do so, and then of course there's the whole we storm Solitude as the Stormcloaks, and Tullius, and as well as Legate Ricka, they both die when you do that, and they allow Elisif to stay as the Jarl of Solitude, but she will be forced to support Ulfric, which you can imagine how Elisif feels about that, having to support the man who murdered her husband. But that's basically what the position she's forced into once they have taken over Solitude and have killed both Ricka and Tullius. Now, one of the things I find interesting about the scene I actually kind of like is that they, of course, want to kill Tullius, and they're not going to back down on that because they don't really like Tullius. But they do like Ricka, because remember, Ricka is a Nord who cares for Skyrim. Now, she has different views on this, and she's apparently had arguments with both Galmar and Ulfric about this very topic, which they kind of touch on when we have our confrontation. And Ulfric basically pleads with Ricka to back down, because he does not want to fight her, he doesn't want to kill her, but she remains, resolute in her stance. And so both Galmar and Ulfric kind of reluctantly take down Ricka because they don't want to. And when that happens, when you go to Sovngarde to face Alduin, Ricka will be there in Sovngarde. The idea that she earned it, doing what she did and standing for what she believed in. So, and that's the bummer when it comes to that, because I like Ricka, and to see her be in Sovngarde, is a shame. Conversely, when you side with the Empire and you kill Ulfric and you see Ulfric there, and I'm just like, ugh, why is Ulfric here in Sovngarde? And he's standing next to the king he murdered. But anyways, that's the only thing I could really think of when it comes to showing any content in Skyrim. However, that's not really what I'm wanting to do. Instead of showing you another side of Skyrim content, I think it's time we delve into another Elder Scrolls game. And I've been teasing this, but the next time you guys see me delve into Elder Scrolls, unless Elder Scrolls 6 gets here much sooner than we think it will, which I highly doubt that's the case. I wouldn't be surprised if Elder Scrolls 6 is several years away from now. Who knows? But I think it's more likely that you will see me do a modded playthrough of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. So if you're excited about that, feel free to let me know in the comments. If I see people actually looking forward to that and excited about that, it gets me more motivated and excited to actually, record it and post on the channel. So if you're excited about me doing a playthrough of Oblivion, which outside of the test run that I've been doing, preparing for this playthrough, testing out mods and such, I've never really played that much of Oblivion. I'll explain more on that when I actually start the playthrough, giving you my background and history of my attempt to get into Oblivion, but never really did. But anyways, in the meantime, this has been my playthrough of the vampire side of the Dawnguard DLC in Skyrim, and I will see you guys in Oblivion. I'll see you next time.